Hello.
Hello, and it's lovely to see you. It's like feels like it was only yesterday that we did the last recording of it.
It does. It does. I still feel the energy of that previous one. Like it was, talking about personal power. Given that was its theme, I still feel the power of that session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a life changer for me.
Yes.
I did that session. It wiped me out. I was like exhausted after that. I think it was our longest channeling session ever. Like we went 3 hours, but
Possibly.
like
It was long. Yes.
all those healings and those light bulb moments. And I actually was in bed quite early. And then I redid it about a week later. I thought, right, I'm going to have another go and replayed it again out, sitting in the garden, well, working in the garden, and a lot more guidance dropped in and went, oh,
Yes.
yeah, okay. And it actually, like, I had to go into a legal thing that was been going on for 2 years. And I went in there and I went, I know where I feel I'm standing in my power. And I said to the solicitor, this is what we're going to do. And she just went, okay. And I went, that's what we're doing. We're putting a time limit on it. I want this all done and finished.
Yes.
And I walked out of there feeling light and like I was being fair with all parties, that I had stood in my power and asked for what I believed was truly mine.
Yes.
And I knew in that moment it was done, and the agreement was back in 5 days signed.
Yep. Amazing. I love that so much.
Yeah. And other aspects and other relationships in my life too. I'm thinking, right, like I'm always kind, and I did have to do a lot of work in my earlier years around my awakening with people pleasing.
Yes.
And I've been doing a lot of the work. So I was like,
we all have, Kerry.
And I was like, right, no, standing in your power doesn't mean you're being mean or taking from someone else. It just means you're putting yourself at the center of your universe and speaking up for what you feel makes you feel fantastic, and
including yourself in that kindness. And I think that's the big piece that we often forget. We got to include ourselves in that kindness and that love. And like the keeper said, being integrating the solar plexus with the heart, not being all separate self or all ego, and not being only love with no sense of self. Like we need to have the balance between both.
Yeah. And I love that this work that we're doing together, and together I mean you, me, the people that are actually like engaging with what we're putting out there, and all those on the non-physical planes that are all like this big moving organism that's creating. I just love where this is going, and it's timeless what we're gathering together here. Like you could look at this in 10 years and still get golden nuggets from it.
I would say so.
Yeah, I went back and looked at one we did introducing the keepers, and I'm like, oh wow, that information's still relevant today, and it's nearly 12 months ago, and that's when I realized everything we're doing is relevant no matter when it's picked up.
Yes. Yeah.
And actually on that note of creation, I think today's theme has been a mishmash of different things coming in, but I think finally it's come into anchoring with Gaia.
Yeah, anchoring into Gaia. Yeah.
Anchoring into Gaia. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're going, and I'm really looking forward to what's going to unfold.
Yes, me too. It's interesting because there were clues about this session or this episode from the previous one.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was like there was already that anticipatory energy about what's going to unfold in this one. And that was the first time we had the clue in advance that it wasn't that we're going to have Archangel Sandalphon come through today.
Yeah. And I think the other thing was that segue, like really at the end, keepers were talking about connecting with the beauty I think it was keepers. I apologize if it was Lady Nada, but it was about connecting with beauty and all around us and that sort of thing. And leading into that, like, here we go, here's Lady Venus coming through.
Lady Venus.
Is that, like,
yes,
segue,
known as the goddess of love and beauty. So interesting, was talking about that with a client this week, and how important it is to her, but how, you know, it is important to all of us. And it's one thing to have an aesthetic, right? And it's another thing to have this, like, a superficial sense of what beauty is. And it's not to say, you know, beautiful clothes and, you know, wanting beautiful skin and hair is being superficial, but it's about allowing both the insides to match the outsides. And so it's more than skin deep. It's only when it's only on the surface of the skin that it is superficial. So I'm looking forward to tapping into that element, because I've always loved beauty, and I've, like, as in beautiful clothes, beautiful things, beautiful crystals, beauty of art, of music, of nature. Like, it's just something that really speaks to me. And so I know for me, you know, my sun is in Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus. And but not only do I have my sun in Libra, I have my midheaven in Libra, and I have 4 other planets in Libra. It's like, it's a very crowded house in my chart, let me say. So that kind of Libran energy, that Venusian energy, is so strong with me. Like, it's just something that I really value. And it's interesting. I've evolved from being, when I was younger, you know, at one point in my life, not being able to leave the house without makeup on. You know, I couldn't go down the road, get a coffee without makeup on and a dress on. And, you know, so it would, you know, it was just, I would die before I would allow myself to be seen in that way. And then I've come through a full revolution. Then I went through a period through my dark night and my, you know, where I was like, I gave up on everything that I did in terms of beauty, my hair, nails, looking after my skin, my clothes. I was no longer fitting into my beautiful clothes, and I was living in activewear, which I always thought was the ugliest clothes that you could wear. And so I was eating my words. I was living in these clothes that were very, you know, not very attractive, even though, and very, very comfortable. And this is where, you know, I apologize to anyone who's offended, because that was my own judgment. And now I then moved into, well, this is just who I am now. I'm, you know, just, you know, being comfortable, and I don't care about what people think of me. And that was the freedom for me. Getting to the point of no longer caring what other people think of me or how they saw me. Like, I wasn't there to make myself attractive or beautiful or pretty for anybody else. I was just there to just be me and move through the world however I wanted to move. And then having come out of that dark night, then having another renaissance, and embracing again makeup when I feel like it.
For yourself.
Some days I won't wear makeup and I'll go out with no makeup. Some days I'll be wearing my activewear, and other days I'll be wearing my beautiful dresses. So it really depends on how I'm feeling. So I think that for me just kind of shows the evolution. I think a lot of people are very rigid around the notions of beauty in our society and what that means, and particularly in terms of expectations on women and how they look like. And I know men will have some of this as well, but, you know, most men won't wear makeup, although some will. Most men won't wear it. They won't have that pressure to be performative in any way in terms of their appearance in that sense. And so I think just sharing that little bit, I didn't plan on sharing about that, but here it is, how we can move beyond what's, you know, superficial, so that it's a mask for the world. And that's how it was. It was a mask for the world. I was wearing a mask because I was trying to control how people saw me. Now it's like, this is who I am. Whether you like what I wear or don't like what I wear, it's like that literally makes no difference to me. But I like, if I'm wearing this, then I like the feel of these clothes. If I'm wearing activewear, then I feel that I'm just being me and I don't care either. So it's just a full revolution, as I said, when it comes to the ideas of beauty. And now 48 years old, and still no longer getting my nails done, but I did go to the hairdresser this morning, for example, and we'll go occasionally, but I'm not, whereas before I would go every week and couldn't not have that immaculate hair. And so it's just no longer rigid with that. It's more like what's in the flow, what feels good, what's an expression of me, and I'm not bound by it because of how I'm afraid of how anybody will interact or see me or perceive me.
Well, it's interesting times that we're in at the moment too. Like we're in a new moon in Sagittarius.
Yes, as we're recording.
And it just so happens that Venus and Mercury is also in the same
Sagittarius.
at the moment. So it's interesting that Lady Venus is coming through. Today with that energy of Venus aligning up there as well, and so much. And there was another planet going direct today. Was it Jupiter?
Jupiter's going direct today. So Jupiter is a planet of expansion. And all the good yummy things that we get from Jupiter. So Jupiter's a great expander. So we can have a look at wherever Jupiter hits in your chart to find out what is Jupiter shining the light on at the moment. He's currently moving through Pisces. So then he'll move back into Aries because he retrograded from Aries into Pisces, and then we'll move back into so wherever Pisces falls in your chart, it'd be interesting to look at what house.
Third house for me.
Second for me. So interesting.
Well,
so definitely different energies from the Scorpio energies and the watery depths of Scorpio that we've moved through, as the the channeled message from last night that they described as the watery depths of Scorpio. Now we're moving more into that light, into that expansion energy. We're now moving into the period of integration from everything that came through with the eclipses, the 1111 gateway, and that whole portal of transformation that we're still moving through until the 8th of December. But now it's the integrating part. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. Now we can have a shift forward, perfect time to set our intentions. And again, look where we're heading for the rest of the year and into the next year.
Well, it's my moon's in Sag too. So for me, and I just doesn't matter what card deck I pick up, I keep getting new beginnings, new beginnings, new beginnings. So I'm like, yes, I know, new beginnings, one door closes with all this legal stuff, and
absolutely
opening up for me to move forward in that other, not only my relationships, but all my life. So
absolutely. And a new moon is about new beginnings. So that's a perfect alignment. And we certainly, when we booked this time, we certainly didn't know it was going to be the new moon.
No, I love how that works. We just book a time, then we start going, okay.
That's why.
A few days before, and you start looking, all right, we're preparing, and then like, okay, this is happening, that's happening.
Yes.
Well, I think it's about time. What do you reckon? Allow keepers to come through, and hopefully you're going to be okay, because there's some big energies coming through.
There's some big energies, and I have been coughing more, so hopefully I don't cough during today's episode. And I just got my asthma medication this morning, so it hasn't had a chance to kick in. So let's see how that unfolds, but bear with me if I do. But yeah, I'm excited about today's session.
Wonderful.
Okay. we're coming more gently into Vicky so that she can prepare energetically more easily and readily through her throat. So it is us, dear ones, as the keepers of the keys, just allowing her to energetically adjust. And welcome to you, Kerry, and welcome to all of you in this eternal moment of now.
Oh, it's wonderful to be back talking to you in this format again.
Yes.
It's just lovely. And then Vicky and I were just discussing about the planetary stuff that's going on.
Yes.
And it's interesting times.
It is interesting times. It is. Yes. We can certainly share a bit more about that, but let us touch on what is occurring today. Now, you have mentioned Archangel Sandalphon, and you have mentioned Lady Venus, and you have mentioned the anchoring into Gaia energies. Now, we want to mention that because it is necessary to understand the broader energies of what is occurring and unfolding. When you have had many diamond light codes as have been coming through to the planet for a while now, and this was particularly, it was the peak at the 1111 gateway. So all that was coming through, yet what was everyone feeling? Everyone was feeling fatigued. Everyone was having somatic symptoms. Some people are still struggling and haven't shifted out of that because it has been so much for their bodies to incorporate and integrate. And when you understand how your bodies work, you have, of course, your cellular structures, your organs, but they're all, of course, when you go right down to the very nitty gritty of it, you've got cells, and in every cell is your DNA, in every single cell. So it doesn't matter if it's a blood cell or if it's a cell in your liver or in your heart or in your skin or anywhere else, this is the imprint that you carry throughout your body. Now, when you are receiving these light codes that are coming through, and you are also retaining the cellular memory of adverse experiences or suppressed emotions that you have locked into your bodies, how is that light supposed to move through? Right? So as you go through the awakening journey, as most of you would know, part of that journey is releasing what has been locked into the body and then opening up more to the light. And as we have said previously, this is the process of enlightenment, bringing more light into your bodies. This is ultimately what you are doing. So this is the process that is unfolding at the moment in your bodies so that you can receive more light. Now, for you to receive more light, now we want you to think about this. Your mind, body, spirit, you are three-part beings. The mind and the body are inseparable. They are one. And yet what many of you will do is disconnect from the body. Others will disconnect from the mind. But we see more of a tendency or a pattern to disconnect from the body and be more in the mind than anything else. Up here, let's be more correct. Up here in the left brain, which is more about the shoulds, the woulds, the coulds, all those that are being dictated by logic or rules. And we include rules of spirituality, not just rules of society. Many people will try to disconnect from the rules of society and then fall right back into the rules of spirituality. Yeah. And then just replace a different set of rules, but still falling into the same pattern, but in a different way, expressed differently. So then you fall into rules of spirituality, still being in a very mind-based way, instead of opening to spirit. This is the third part, the alchemical part. You are spirit. Your higher self is spirit. Your higher self is light. This is what. And then as you connect, your higher self connects into your body, you have that portion of that higher self that is your soul interfacing with your body. Now, of course, your soul can carry imprints from across lifetimes. You can carry many things in your soul. It is not the pure white light that your higher self is, although it can be. This is what you're moving into. Your soul is here to experience here on this physical plane all that it can be. in the non-physical, or that it is in the non-physical. And yet to experience it in the physical, because you're here for the experience, you may know it in the non-physical, but without the experience, you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't experience it. You don't live it. You're here for the lived experience. And so now you have this interface between soul, spirit, and body. And how do you open up to that? Well, you need to release those cellular memories and energetic imprints of all those lifetimes and of all this lifetime's experiences. And let us say in your physical body, it is more active around this lifetime's experiences.
Yeah, okay.
The past lifetime experiences will be more active on a soul level. It'll be in your energy field. It's certainly within your multidimensional DNA, as is all that ancestral wounding, but also your ancestral gifts. Similarly, your past life gifts. So this is how it is actually in the body also. So it's in the body also, but these cellular memories are from this body, this lifetime.
Making so much sense. Yeah.
Yes. And so what can happen is you have these past life experiences. You then want to heal that pattern from past life. What do you choose as a soul? To recreate similar conditions in this lifetime so you can move through it in this lifetime in this body. And in so doing, release and heal the pattern from all those lifetimes. See how it plays together.
And I've just experienced that in a big way last week. So
Yes,
that's really hitting home for me. Yeah.
Yes. And so now you have all of these things that you're needing to release. The light is hitting your bodies. What is it going to release first? It's going to be dependent on your individual soul, what it's ready to release. How is it coming up? And let us also say this timeline of your soul is going to be indicated through your astrology. It's going to be indicated through your divine blueprint. And the divine blueprint is reflected in your astrology. And some readers can read that. And then know that it's all a co-creation between soul, you, your body, and all the rest of humanity, as well as of all the energy that's coming through. So here you are having this very physical experience to non-physical energy.
Yeah.
The light that is coming through, it is both physical and non-physical. You have packets of photons and you have photon receptors in your cells, in your bodies. And then you have the multidimensional elements of that with codes and keys and information. And your body, but mind and soul are having to integrate and process all of that information and activation. That's why everyone is different and has a different timetable, so to speak, for how they are moving through these energies. So I wanted to give that broader premise of all that's been unfolding up until this point. And you're quite right in saying there is this shift in energy moving forward, so that it is giving you this period of time of integration, because then what's happening after the 8th of December is an acceleration of light again.
Okay.
In a very positive way. It is different to what was experienced during Scorpio season. You are moving into Christ consciousness, into solstice, Christmas, and then you're moving into the new year, and there is an abundance of Christ consciousness energy coming through January next year.
And I'm feeling that too. Like I can just see it reflected in my own life. Like it's been a pretty tough couple of years, but it's just like that whole load's just lifted in the last even week.
As we have said, even with the Council of Light in our messages, these past 3 years have been the most transformative years. And many of you, most of you would say they've also been very challenging 3 years, disruptive in many ways, bringing up many things that you would not even have dreamt of. And so that all coming up now, you are now moving into a very different energy in 2023. Things are landing now in 2023 in a way that they have not landed previously. Each year from 2020, you've been waiting for the year to get better and things to shift and things to not be the same as it was from 2020. Now 2023 brings a different energy. Now, it is not to say that there is still more of that dismantling going on collectively in the world, because there is the broader plan, the divine plan, the broader agenda that is moving across to move into the consciousness of love that has to occur in your structures, in your governments, and on a planetary level that is still unfolding. But for those of you who are listening and watching, for those of you who are on a spiritual journey, you will now see a remarkable shift in energy, and it will even be even more so into 2024, when things are, you may say that you have arrived in 2024. So it's like 2023, the light is here, but the light's still landing. 2024, the light is landed.
It's nice to hear, because intuitively I always knew, like, even when I think we were coming to the close of 21, everyone's like, can't wait for the next year. This has been a horrible year and we're getting new year and everything's going to be so much better. And I looked at them and I said, I'm sorry.
No. Yeah.
I don't feel that. This is just my personal opinion. And I've been saying, I really don't think that everything's going to be a little bit like more in that cruisy mode till about 24. And they just look at me.
Yes.
And I think within the start of 2022, I don't know whether it was fires or floods or whatever had happened, because like what's going on for us is also, going on for Gaia.
Gaia, yes.
And we're all connected. So I'm like, no, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's just,
Vicky was saying the same thing.
Make the most of it and make sure self-care is at the center of your world.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be your foundation to get through the next few years. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yes, speaking of Gaia, so here you have what we've described, the process that's going on in your bodies. If you understand what's happening planetary, in other words, your planet, the planet is the body of the spirit of Gaia. So she's going through her awakening. What is she moving through? Similar. She is releasing traumas and wounds that have been inflicted upon her throughout these millennia, so that she can come into an awakened state. And it is a mirroring of this relationship between the two of you. Now, to anchor into Gaia means that your light can be anchored into hers. Your light to be anchored into hers. So for her, she needs to anchor her light, and then you need to anchor yours and then click it into place.
Yeah.
So, of course, look at Australia, where you are recording from. You have had fires, you have had floods.
We're in flood now. Yeah.
Yes. And it's still occurring. What is been happening the past few days? Antarctic blasts of icy winds in Sydney. Yeah,
snowing.
It was hailing last week in Sydney. It is end of November, Thursday, 24th of November, 2022. This is the end of spring coming into summer. And what's the weather normally like?
Yeah.
Hot. It's summer weather. But it has triggered, what has it triggered? Throat and chest, lungs.
Yeah.
Certainly in Vicky and for many people. Others, it's the sinuses, the nose, the hay fever. And so the winds are coming up. And then there are going to be more rounds of more rain.
And it's like one day you're in a jumper and the next day you're in a bikini. Yes. Sort of. It's like you just can't pick.
It can happen from morning to afternoon.
I think the last recording you did, I was rugged up, I had a blanket on.
Yes.
And I was putting a blanket on, and today I'm in a singlet.
Yes. Yes. Vicky was with a cardigan last time as well, because it was that icy blast. Now the sun is shining. Thankfully, Vicky says.
Grass is growing rather fast. Yes.
Talking of grass, there's patches of grass in their garden that has not dried since the beginning of year because of the rains. They've been so
consistent.
Consistent, but a downpouring, and the ground has become sodden. What happens with the winds? Trees are uprooted.
Yeah.
So here we're talking about anchoring into Gaia. We're going to be talking about how you cannot be uprooted by all the energies that are coming through. Not uprooted by everything that's occurring out there. Not uprooted by everything that you're needing to move through. Being anchored, meaning that you have deep roots into Gaia. And so these strong winds won't uproot you. You may sway and flow with them. But you may still have these broad branches that reach up into the heavens. And this is the meaning of how you can have those deep roots into yourself and into Gaia and be supported by her, as well as by the light. Because the light is not just up there. The light needs to come through the body and anchor into Gaia.
So it's one of the favorite things I love to do when I'm doing group work with people is to just get out, get your shoes off, get your feet on Gaia, and then we do a little anchoring session there where they become the tree. Yeah.
Yes, becoming the tree. And that's a perfect analogy, because you can look at your energy system as a tree of life. And indeed, when it comes to the Kabbalah, looking at the tree of life, and you have the Sephira, you have the energy centers, and you have the energy channels, it is about anchoring that tree of life into Gaia. In other words, anchoring your light into her. So when you understand you have your energy centers, your chakras, then you connect all the way up to source, to the great central sun, and bring that light through, and you connect into your higher self and have your higher self connect into your bodies and through your energy channels, and then begin to connect into Gaia through your Earth star, which doesn't just end there, dear ones. You keep going down, and until you reach the heart of Gaia. And the heart of Gaia is the end point to the high point. And into the heart of Gaia, you can connect into the heavens. It is a portal, just like your heart is the portal.
Oh, nice.
So when you anchor into Gaia, you're anchoring into the heart of Gaia and opening up multidimensionally to all that is.
Originally, when I started doing anchoring into Gaia's heart, like I used to think, it's almost like I was draining from her and relying on that energy. And then I just realized, no, you're holding hands.
Yes.
You're holding hands and co-creating together.
Yes. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to describe it and understand it. Because it's one thing to take your shoes off. Many people have blocked chakras in their feet, blocked energy centers. Yes, in that sense, Gaia can do some work, but you may be more limited in how much you will receive. So be an active participant in your grounding and in your anchoring. Be an active participant. Why are your chakras blocked? Find out why. And discover practices that will open them.
Yeah.
And another wonderful way, certainly when it is weather appropriate, sand and sea. Sand is quartz. So electrically, it opens those chakras. And then bringing through the salt of the seawater and then washing it through, it helps to open them up. Now, that's something you can recreate with the bath and some crystals and some sea salt. But nature's way is best.
It's funny you should say that. A girlfriend and I went down to the beach. We said, oh, look, it's not really been the most beach weather, but let's go down. And we put our toe in the water and it was like going into an ice bath. And I went, I can't believe how cold the water still is.
Yes.
Anyway, so we mucked around for like half an hour as we inched ourselves in a bit further. And then we got up to our waist. Then we got up to our, not quite to our shoulders, and was jumping over every wave because like, oh, taking your breath away with the chill.
Yes.
And this other girl comes running off the beach, straight past us, dove in, and we're like, what? She went, oh, that was refreshing, but I'm getting straight back out. And she got back straight back out. And I looked at my girlfriend and I said, that's it. I'm diving in. I said, we've come this far. Let's get our hair wet and go under.
Yes.
I handed my glasses over to her. She said, are you really doing this? I said, yes, I am. And I just dove in the water.
Yes.
And when I came back up, I was like, oh my God, why didn't I do that at the beginning? It was just refreshing and revitalizing, and it's free and it's just freeing. And she looked at me, she said, all right, you're going to hold my glasses now, I'm doing it. She said, why did we do that at the beginning? But it was a really nice lesson of how sometimes we put roadblocks in the way to our own benefits and things that we can do for ourselves. But diving in the ocean was like, it was like being reborn. Like, it was like, oh, that was just so nice.
It is also one of the most effective ways to clear your energy. One of the most effective ways, regardless of the energy, is going into the ocean, particularly when you have those intentions of asking each wave to take more out and release out, and don't have to worry about what you are releasing to Gaia. She instantly transmutes. It's that symbiotic relationship. Look at the trees. They take in your carbon dioxide and expel oxygen, which you need, and then you expel the carbon dioxide that they need.
Yeah.
So look at that perfect process of alchemy. This is what's occurring with Gaia. So there's much that you can do with that. And when you understand that she's going through her awakening process and that she's needing to expel and release trauma and wounds and memory imprints that have been laid upon her by man-made, human-made trauma and inflictions, then you can understand then why people are doing grid work around the world to help support her energetically. And if you recall, last time we did some grid work by sending energy into Gaia. This is that process. Because what supports her supports you.
And I also know, like last night I was watching some YouTube and whatever I was watching finished, and then up came this beautiful, and I've got quite a large television, like up came this underwater scene that someone had filmed of all, like looked like the Great Barrier Reef with all the
Yes.
beautiful coral fish and
Yes.
see a diver every now and then to show that it's was real footage, because you could have thought you were looking at a fish tank, like.
Yes.
Looks so magical, and I thought, oh, I just pulled myself up right in front of the screen so it sort of enveloped me, and I thought, oh, it's just such gratitude to sit there and just watch these beautiful creatures and the colors. And maybe that's another one for people watching that can't get to the beach or can't get
Absolutely.
into a bath or whatever, that they could
Yes.
still tune into that energy
Yes.
and that nature through their television as well.
Your scientists have even proved that. You can look at pictures of trees and calm down. Your nervous system instantly responds. So yes, absolutely. Have pictures of those sunsets, of those grand vistas, of the beaches and the oceans, of the mountain tops, wherever you may wish to be, wherever you and your nervous system responds to. Look at things that bring you joy. We said, look at the beauty of the earth and of nature. And this is a way to respond and bring the beauty of nature indoors with you.
Yeah, it's a pretty magical place we're existing in at this point.
Very magical. Very magical. And we can see all your instruments of magic behind you.
Well, she was like, I'm sitting here, and I went, okay, can be, am I right? And I think like the Empress, she calls herself, a perfect representation of our guests today, with that rose quartz and the golden healer combined.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course I had to have the labradorite after it's the crystal of the month and the healing of the month for November. So a few other little goodies jumped in.
Yes. Perfect. So what we will say, because we're going to hand over to Archangel Sandalphon, this has been a useful discussion about how you anchor, and there'll be more that comes through, of course, with Sandalphon, and we don't want to spoil his thunder.
Yes.
And we know Lady Venus has something to share on all of that too.
Wonderful.
So we will come back and wrap up and cap off anything that needs to be tied together. And yes, when you understand that Archangel Sandalphon is connected to the golden ray of light, that light of Christ consciousness, and anchors into the earth, that is his role. Remembering from the previous session that he has the twinned energy with Archangel Metatron, with the diamond ray of light. Now you have the golden anchoring into the earth, and how this fits in with this whole grand awakening journey that you are all moving through. Remember, dear ones, it is an embodied process. It is one that is connected deeply and intimately with Gaia and with your planet.
Thank you.
So on that note, we will withdraw our energies, although we will not be gone. Okay. Getting to just come out of that for a moment before we bring Archangel Sandalphon in.
It's a good time to remind everyone that's watching to make sure they keep their water levels up.
Yes, absolutely. yeah, they're getting me to remind people that helps that energy flow, because it's that bioelectrical flow of, you know, our internal salts with the water that we need that to move through. Yes, thank you. So Archangel Sandalphon is the only other archangel said to have had a human life as a prophet Elijah. And as the keepers mentioned, is it has a twinned energy with Archangel Metatron, and they anchor the two ends of the tree of life. But also, if you look at the energy system, if you look more broadly, with Metatron at the top and him at the bottom, now this is not a hierarchy. Yeah. This is more about roles and what roles they bring through. And his role is to work with Gaia and to work with the planet and to anchor that Christ consciousness into us and into the earth. So I don't think we need to say any more about him, do you?
No.
No. Yeah.
Maybe right, already.
Let me take a sip of water. Hello, dear ones.
Welcome, Sandalphon.
Welcome to you. And welcome to everyone who is listening, watching, here in the eternal moment of now. Thank you for the opportunity so you may hear my message, listen to my words, receive my energy, and in a co-creative process, reflect on what is being shared and adopt, incorporate any wisdoms that you are, with free choice, adopting for yourself.
Lovely. Thank you. I look forward to it.
Let's get Vicky more comfortable. The body's an interesting thing, is it not? And I want to start there. Here you are in your human bodies. Your human bodies age and decay. This is how you see it. And are temporary. And yet you are eternal souls. And it is why you are, no matter what your age, you feel eternal. It is why death comes to you as a shock. When someone dies or crosses over, it is a shock to you, even if they're very old, according to your standards, or have been suffering or have been struggling for a long time. Regardless of how that happens, it can be still a shock, a rude awakening, in what some would say, when it comes to how temporary life is. Yet your sense of life is that it's eternal, and it is. Life moves on, does it not? Now, life moves on the planet, certainly, but it also moves on into another form. And this is the endless cycle and nature that you move through. Now, remember that nothing dies, everything just changes forms. Your body may die, decay, may be turned to ash, but that energy is transformed and ultimately will feed back into Gaia. From Gaia you arose, to Gaia you will return. When it comes to your souls, from the light you came, to the light you return. How you move in those intervening periods, in other words, through your lives, through your physical lives from birth to death, what you call death, is completely up to you. How much will you remember the light? How much will you remember you are love? What is your experience of this going to be in your physical form? Here you all are on this physical planet, in this physical plane, here to transmute, heal, awaken, and shift into a broader consciousness. The consciousness of love, certainly. And we know that the keepers favor this term as being more descriptive of what a 5D consciousness is. Let me speak instead of Christ consciousness. The consciousness of love is certainly fits into Christ consciousness. For me, this is the more expansive term.
Yeah.
When you understand that Christ is being anointed with light, and that is what it means, and that is what we are referring to when we speak of Christ consciousness. We are not specifically referring to the man known as Yeshua, Jesus, on this earth plane, although that is what he was bringing through.
I think of it as Jesus anointed with light. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. He became Christed when the Holy Spirit came into him upon his baptism. And that is when his ministry began. So he and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary and all that whole Essene community and those who walked with him walked with him and served the light in order to anchor the light, and were very instrumental then for what is unfolding now. Now, of course, there have been many Christed ones upon the planet, so let us honor them also, whether you know them as Buddha or by any other name. So this is not to restrict the understanding of what Christ consciousness is to one person. It is about the light. So anointed with light, this is the Christ consciousness. That is how the light comes into the earth, is from the diamond into the gold. It is a twinned energy for a reason, dear ones. What anchors is through the gold. Have a look at a candle flame. What color would you call that? It's pure light. It's a golden light.
Yeah.
Now, as the light gets, let us say, more concentrated, as the light becomes more concentrated, it becomes white. But the light has to transduce down into the gold to be able to anchor into Gaia. So this is my role with my brother, Metatron, into the earth. He brings the light, supports the light, and the light codes, and I anchor. This is our twin role. You with me?
Yes, certainly.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like Metatron talks about utilizing his Merkaba as well,
Yes.
in our world as well. And
yes,
I'm just trying to think, because he sort of talks about as being his Merkaba, like you're part of that still, or do you have a
Yes.
different process that we can tap into to utilize as well?
The possessive pronoun his is an interesting one. It is more a human one. He would not identify it as his. It is something that he utilizes to bring through the light. Do I use that in the way he does? No. Because he's already brought it through. That's what his role is. I work through the crystalline grids.
Yeah. Yeah.
The energy matrix is already there. And in working through those grids, and let me say, supporting each and every one of you through your Earth Star chakras to connect into those grids individually. So for those of you who do grid work, whether you know it or not, you're working with me. Of course, you're working with Gaia, but it is all a grand co-creation.
Yeah. Yeah, that explains it well. Thank you.
Yes. Good. So let me tap into what is unfolding with Gaia. Now, the keepers intimated that there is more than the Earth Star, and there is. There are grid points as you go all the way down into the heart of Gaia. There is a final point deeper than the Earth Star that Vicky has been calling the deep Earth Star. That is a good enough term. Now, others have identified this at the level of what they call the dolphin matrix.
Yeah.
So if you understand, Gaia has an energy matrix that supports through the crystalline grids. And this has been laid down even before Gaia was formed. As the planet was being birthed, this was occurring, and much was being laid into place energetically. Now, that dolphin matrix is, that is not saying let me explain that term. It supports the collective energy of dolphins, which is why it's referred to that. But it is not only what it is. And if you understand what dolphins bring, you can understand that. Yes. And what is joy? Joy is love. And then the next point down, the whale matrix. And they hold the Akashic Records of the earth, of Gaia. So these are the connection points into Gaia. And at this point are no longer personal chakras. At this point, you have merged with Gaia. From that deeper Earth Star point, you are now merged with her. But that connection continues to go down until all the way into the heart of Gaia. Now, you don't need to think of it as a physical place like it's the molten core. It's multidimensional. It's where it's the concentrated heart of the energy matrix, or matrices more accurately, and how they come together. It is like your heart. All veins and arteries come together into the heart. It's like all roads lead to Rome. In that sense, this is the heart of Gaia, where all matrices and grid points come into her heart, and that is what her heart is. So of course it is the multidimensional portal opening into the divine. It could not be any other way. To be able to support spiritual life on earth, not just physical life on earth. Just like if you did not have souls, your bodies could not live.
Yep.
Why do you think your bodies die? Because your soul leaves it. It is your soul that fuels your body. What makes your heart stop? Your soul has left. So when you understand this, and you can, for some, when you picture it, the heart is red. I see it as gold. All of that is like a pulsing golden light. And it is now a place, an energetic place, a portal, an opening, a gateway. It is a cradle. You may call it of civilization. Because without it, you would not be here. And so when we are saying anchor into the heart of Gaia, you are anchoring into her heart. And you are supported by the light of Christ consciousness. And this is what is next to unfold on the planet. What did the keepers say? The increase and the move towards the Christ consciousness after the 8th of December, and then into January 2023 until it lands in 2024. That is what they're referring to. So how are you all interfacing with that? Remember, what does the light do? The light can also shine the light upon all the shadows. So all the shadows are coming up within humanity. And then personally, all the shadows come up within you. Is why it has been an uncomfortable time, dear ones. It is uncomfortable to move through all that has been hidden before. It was hidden because you were not ready to deal with it, know about it, heal it, release it. And on one level, you may not feel ready, but the time is ripe. The divine plan is at play. And the keepers know this because they are here to support the divine plan on earth, as am I. So everything is on time.
In the perfect moment of now.
Yes. 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 Interesting that you bring that up, because when you are anchored into the heart of Gaia, as you anchor into her, all that external noise drops away. There is an expansive energy that creates a sense of stillness around you. There's space around you. You're not crowded in by the noise and the lights and the sounds out there, but you've now created a bubble of space, a bubble of light around you. And in that energy, you are fully present in that eternal moment. So when you are anchored into the heart of Gaia, you are anchored into calm and presence in the eternal now. So that means you're not racing ahead to what you're doing tomorrow or next year or the year after. You're not racing back to what happened last year or the last conversation or in your childhood. You are fully present now. That is not to say that I mean don't look back or don't plan ahead, but you're doing it in a state of presence. It's the state that you are in. You're not traveling back or traveling forward. You are fully present here and now in your bodies, anchored in Gaia, and able to then plan in that grounded, still, calm, present state what you wish to intend or create the vision of. That is a very different energy about, I have to do this and this is what I have to do, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth.
And I think that's really important too for people just in your self-care routine, is to, even if you take 1 minute, it's better than not going out and just doing that. Take a moment, stand on the beautiful earth, feel it under your feet, breathe in the air, hear the sounds, smell the smells. Even 1 minute of that present moment is just, it's golden and can lift you through the rest of the day. Like,
it is golden.
Yeah, golden. There you go. Yeah, it's you think about your meditation routines and things like that. Oh, I need half an hour, I need this. Just stop for 1 minute.
Yes.
And give yourself that gift.
That is interesting, because that's what Vicky is planning on doing from next week, is doing a video on social media just for 5 minutes with the keepers, just to show that a 5-minute meditation might be all you need. And you can, everyone's got 5 minutes.
I do a 16-second one. I teach that everywhere I go. Take 16 seconds for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Oh, well, it's just, I call it the sweet 16, and it's just breath work, and you can do it wherever you are. And basically it's just, you're just breathing in for 4 seconds, and then you hold it for 4 seconds, then breathe out for 4 and hold out. So it's just like in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. And just that 16 seconds, you can take it. I used to do it on the phone when people ring up all upset. I go, just 1 moment, I'll put you on hold. I do the breathing, come back, they've calmed down, and you can have the conversation. There's a bigger version of that, but 16 seconds can just, I call it, you can create responses to life rather than react to life. Yeah, so 16 seconds can make a world of difference.
Which adds to the master number of 7, 1 and 6.
And going into 2023, that adds back to 7.
Yes. And you got your 4 fours in the 16. 4 is connected to the earth and Gaia.
Ah, lovely.
Nice little number play.
Yes, I love my numbers. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, dear one.
My pleasure.
Anyone can do this while they're waiting in line, while they're driving.
Yeah.
Even
when the kids are screaming at you and you're like, what am I going to do? Take 16.
Thank you. Perfect sharing at this time. So I'll open up to questions that you may have for me, or any comments or reflections.
I love the fact that we're combining the golden and the white light sort of together as well, because quite often in meditations, and I'll see both, and it used to confuse me when I was first starting out after I had my awakening and was getting more into this world, because I had dodged it most of my life, even though there was little hints all the way along, like, nope, not doing that yet, not doing that yet. And here I am now fully embracing that.
Yes.
It's nice, and to see the interplay of everything, like even the numbers, like you were saying, the numbers coming back. And for me, the fact that the grid work, I do participate in grid work, and I know there was a little while ago we did a massive grid work across the planet to connect in with Uluru.
Yes.
So now I know that we were working with you as well in that.
Yes.
So I think maybe if you want to talk a bit more about that type of thing, would be wonderful to hear more about that grid work and how each and every one of us can participate in that, not only for ourselves, but for our planet and for the cosmos.
Yes. I will do that now. Before I will then hand over to Lady Venus. Now, you may understand, you move to any place. It could be England, the Middle East, Europe, here in Australia, in the US, in Asia, wherever you are in the world. And you go to a place and you can feel the memories of that place. For those of you who are sensitive enough and attuned enough, you can feel the memories of that place. Now, as we're saying, Gaia is releasing and healing, and it's just as you are from your bodies, the trauma imprints that has been perpetrated upon her. Now, you can understand that there are and have been, not just now, but always have been, strife, conflicts, war, tragedies, traumas, horrors that have unfolded upon the earth. Now, when you do grid work, you are connecting underneath the earth, just like you're connecting into the chakras of your body. You're going inner. So you're going into the earth. So let us go to Iran. That has been something that has been coming up for the past couple of discussions that you have had, and it's still unfolding. And the original protests have become a revolution. And yet there are many horrors that are unfolding there. And here you may feel like, well, what can you do? One thing you can do, and it's not to take away from any human action that you can do, but one thing you can add to what you can do is to work in the crystalline grids of the earth under Iran. Remember, Gaia has no boundaries or borders. But what is occurring there is limited to that pocket of the earth. And to set those intentions to support the healing of Gaia, but also the healing of the people. Now, it is not to say that this will change the outcome, but it can support the process. It is an awakening process. Because this is sacred land, just like every land anywhere is around the world. Sacred land that needs to be reclaimed by love. And yes. And so where you have a regime that is the very opposite of love, people are needing to express love by standing in their power and to fight, literally fight for their freedom and their rights to live as sovereign beings. So now this, through that awakening process, however, there is those memory imprints of the tragedies and even the slaughter that is occurring there. So you may call upon me. You may connect etherically to crystals. There are more crystals still in the earth, in the ground, than there are dug up that you can connect with. Connect etherically to the crystals, etherically to the crystalline grids. So I'm doing now. And begin to release pockets of dense energy. Now, for those of you new to grid work, that may not be where you wish to start. What you may wish to do is just connect any place in the world and connecting to that golden matrix and connect to that light. And as you connect to the light, you feed that light and it feeds you. And that might be the simplest thing you can do. But for those of you, and there will be certainly some of you watching that who do the grid work and are happy to be the light workers that you are, to support the light and the ascension of the planet and do this kind of grid work. Now, that is one way. The other way is to also support the connection of the energy pathways between power centers of the earth and allow the energy channels to flow through, just like you have your energy centers in your body and you have the energy channels connecting those energy centers to the body. That is another way that you may do this. What I will say is, I will not teach this now. For those who know, they know. Simply, I will say, for those starting out, connect with the golden matrix and allow it to move through you, feed you, and it feeds the light. And just by this very process, you are sustained and so is Gaia. You're supported and so is she. You're awakened and so is she.
Beautiful. Golden.
Golden. That might be the word of the day. And let me invite you back to your previous session with my brother. There was some work done with his, I use your term, Merkaba, and working with Gaia. And that is another way you may connect with that good work too.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're most welcome, dear ones. This is the first of many conversations. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy for you to receive me. And yet it is time now, in this eternal moment of now, oh, the irony of time in your human experience, time now to, let me not say withdraw either. I am here ever present. And anytime you may call upon me, you may connect with me. And I see your rose quartz golden healer in the background. And that golden healer energy is another perfect way to connect with that Christ consciousness and with me.
Lovely.
And so it is. Wow, he has such a sweet, gentle energy.
Yeah, I think about the creatures that are on the planet, and all that's sort of like, I can understand why he works so passionately with the planet and those.
It's funny. I just got a flash of St. Francis of Assisi as you were saying that, and kind of feels like they were very Sandalphon and him were very connected, because that's another way of working with Gaia's energies is working through and with the animals, or with plant medicine, herbal medicine, crystals. Because they come from the earth,
Into the crystals today, yeah.
Yeah.
I just brought them up too. And I just realized I've got this Aboriginal artwork
Yes.
behind me as well, which is another connection for us to Gaia.
I've got my Aboriginal painted mug. And that's something actually I want to honor, because it's something we haven't been doing. But yeah, I want to honor that. I know we're both on unceded Aboriginal land, and I'm on the land of the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation. So say that again.
Yarapai.
And so I want to honor the land that we are on. And it's not to say that we don't have a right to live on the land. From my understanding, and of course I don't want to speak out of turn, is that it's about honoring where we are, and that here I am on this land they were the caretakers of this land, and they had a connection to this land that has been not only ignored but actively violated through colonialism and through the raping and pillaging of Gaia, essentially. And so I want to acknowledge that, because if we were true to Indigenous practices, then Gaia wouldn't have to heal from everything we're having to heal now.
It showed us how to walk gently on the and work with the land, and it's just nice now, because I've just seen the rebirthing of that wisdom coming back through again now, and for the First Nations people to be able to freely speak about their worlds and all that information that's been handed on through word of mouth through their generations. And I'm just so thankful that they were able to carry that message from generation to generation until it came to a time where they could bring it back out again.
Yes. And that's another way, when we understand that there's that history of genocide, with all First Nations people around the world, they have experienced through colonialism, and how they have actively sought to destroy their connection to nature, and to the earth and to their country, and here we are now having to heal some of that. And it can kind of be really frustrating when they were the ones called the savages, when the colonizers were the savages. I just wanted to acknowledge that. And I also want to apologize for not acknowledging the land that we're upon. And I want to make the intention now here on this new moon that we do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So just feeling that, because I'm certainly not Indigenous to this country. My family originally came from Cyprus, and my mother came here in 1956 on a boat when she was 7 years old. And my father came here in 1970 or 71 when he was 20 years old. And we're beneficiaries of that colonial privilege, to be able to be here, because Cyprus, but this is the irony, Cyprus was a part of the Commonwealth because it was in a sense not so much colonized but appropriated in terms of its government by the British, and is now part of the Commonwealth because they did not allow Cyprus its sovereignty to return and reunite with Greece. And so in 1960, it became, after much some fighting from freedom fighters in Cyprus, they allowed Cyprus its independence, but only if it was still part of the Commonwealth. And that still is operational to this day. And as I think I've mentioned previously, there are still British bases on the island of Cyprus. But interesting now I'm bringing up Cyprus because Cyprus is said to be the birthplace of the goddess Aphrodite. And so I've grown up having this very Greek Cypriot background, and, you know, going from when I was 9 years old to Cyprus and visiting the birthplace of Cyprus. And one time, this many years ago now, 2001, visiting the baths of Aphrodite, where she was said to bathe after she consulted with men, with lovers.
Okay.
In this like nature bath or pond with its, you know, the fronds of ivy and that
Sounds
just
beautiful.
coming down. Yeah, quite lovely. So, and I mention Aphrodite because that is one name that Lady Venus is known by or has been referred to. Of course, Venus is the other name. Hathor is another one. Ishtar and Innana are other ones too. And what is interesting is that now, as if we understand her as Lady Venus, like Lady's obviously an honorary title, but she's in that essence the goddess of love and beauty. We don't need to think of her as a goddess, although you may. She's certainly a powerful light being, and very connected to, of course, Venus, her namesake, and the energy of love and beauty. But she's also said to be the twin flame of Sanat Kumara, the logos, the planetary logos of the world. So he's like what some would call the head honcho, but he's basically responsible for the divine plan here on Earth, and in implementing it and I suppose overseeing everything that's happening on the Earth. So we're talking about them. They're of course part of the Council of Light, and so it'd be interesting to see what Lady Venus wants to bring through.
The keepers did say she had something specific, so
yes, and I could sense that there was something very specific, you know, as I was kind of tapping into her this morning. It's like, you know, she was coming here with a purpose.
yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else we need to say about her.
Just have a drink and sit back and enjoy and feel the energy. I think there'll be a beautiful strength that we'll experience with her.
And I think going back to what you said, how there was a mentioning about beauty as we're closing off the previous session, that was such a segue to this, and not knowing, because it was just last night when you were asking who else is coming through, and I was like, who is it, and it was Lady Venus. So I think it just ties in perfectly. So while I didn't know till last night, they definitely did. Okay. She's been waiting. Indeed, I have. Allowing the energy to integrate with Vicky. Indeed, supporting her breath and her throat. Yes. I am Lady Venus, and I welcome you all. I have a very specific purpose. It is not many who can hold my energies for long. So it will not be a long message, but what you may receive is hopefully clear and powerful one.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here, and we had a feeling of the power we were going to be feeling now. So
yes,
welcome and thank you for coming.
You may set the intentions of receiving as much power as is in your best and highest good here and now.
So I will.
Yes. I do work with the breath. And I'm helping Vicky to breathe better in her body. And if you wish to connect with that, and for me to support in how you breathe in your bodies, you may do so. For as we shared in the Council of Light with the Keeper's message, much dis-ease comes through disorders of the breath. Now, in connecting into your bodies, what do your bodies need? The breath of life. Yes. So your 16-second process is a perfect reminder to people to breathe. And to breathe that energy not just into your lungs, but into your whole body. I get a whole body process. And I really do connect into the body and allow the energies to flow into your bodies. For your bodies are glorious temples to be enjoyed and to be treasured. And you may enjoy your hair, your nails, your clothes, your makeup. And then you may fling them aside for none are necessary, all at the same time. What did they have stories about me? Is my nudity. Now, while not all those stories are true, you can understand where they got that sense from.
Yes.
Now, let's get to the meat of the message. And I say that because ultimately your bodies are meaty, are they not? Now, let's talk about love and beauty. Now, it may seem like an incongruous subject to bring up beauty when we're talking about love. I say one is the same as the other. Beauty opens your heart. What I am all about is love. What love is all about is the heart. What the heart is all about is love. So anything to do with the heart connects to me. Now, whether you wish to think of me as Lady Venus or of any of those names that were previously mentioned or not is completely up to you. Now, I have a strong role with your planet and supporting you all into the consciousness of love. I like that term because it is what I am all about.
Yeah.
It is, by the way, what Christ consciousness is all about. And yet I'll add that the Christ consciousness does add the element about the light, being anointed into the light. So yes, there is something additional to that. Regardless, I am working to the same purpose of anchoring love and ultimately anchoring Christ consciousness here upon the earth. Know that beauty opens your heart. So anytime you engage with something that is in essence beautiful, in other words, holds beauty, nature, artworks, music, clothes, hair, physical appearance. The bodies are a temple. But the temple must also be filled with love from the inside. Otherwise, it would not be beautiful. And there are many people on this planet, perhaps walking around with beautiful faces and beautiful bodies, that have a temple that is not filled with love. Their energy is not beautiful. And so while it is something that you may play with, do not forget the inner beauty, the beauty within. For as within, so without. If there is beauty in your hearts, there'll be beauty in your faces.
And talking about faces, like a key thing for me, a symbol of beauty is like when you see a smile on even a child's face, that's
absolutely
beauty. And yeah, I love to see and hear the laughter from a child.
Yes, there's nothing so pure as that unadulterated laughter and joy from a child. Yes.
And it's natural and it glows from within.
Yes, absolutely. There is no talking out of that energy. And that is what, as adults, you may do, is talk yourselves out of your natural impulses. So I very much connect into the bodies and support those natural impulses. Now, those natural impulses, remember, your true nature is love. I am here to return you to your true selves, your true natures. You are here to experience yourselves as love in physical bodies, to anchor your light into physical bodies. Here I am supporting you to hold and remember that you are love in physical bodies. And this includes Gaia. And to anchor and hold love in the earth. I am all about the heart. And so let us connect into the heart of Gaia. And this is what I will be doing for you now. This means I am connecting to your heart now, to all of you. If you do not wish to participate in this, you may then turn off here. So now connecting into your hearts, which is another glorious temple. You need not go to any temple except for the temple within. So let us open them, dear ones, as much as you're ready for. and allow my energies to pour through. Some of you will experience me as green. Some of you will experience me as pink. Some of you will experience me as pale blue. That would be very few. And receive these color rays into the temple of your hearts. Even as I begin to open the heart of Gaia in that golden matrix, and that golden matrix sending up that energy to connect into your heart. We are weaving your heart into hers through the golden rays of light. For it is time, dear ones, for you to do so. Otherwise, you will find this coming years more difficult. When you anchor into the heart of Gaia, you are supported by these energies rather than rocked by them. You expand into these energies rather than contracted by them. So that you may expand into love and not, like so many, contract into fear. Continuing that weaving process. Weaving through your hearts. Finalizing the energetic weaving between your hearts and Gaia's. Now, for those of you who have anchored your hearts into Gaia, into the heart of Gaia, you may now weave with each other. Now we have the unity. Now we have the light. Now you move forward as a collective. As this microcosm of the human collective feeds into the macrocosm of the human collective. And now we expand those heart energies so that the heart of Gaia's energy expands to all corners of the earth and to all people everywhere through the crystalline grids to all places and all spaces, so that those who wish to connect with these energies may. Forming a broader weaving from heart to heart, soul to soul, throughout the human collective. Bringing this final piece of connection through Gaia. And now you may begin with your own intentions to receive what you need to receive energetically. To see where you are not love. Are you not loving towards yourself? Are you not loving towards your bodies? Are you not loving towards Gaia? To her animals, her plants, her trees, her oceans. In opening to love, you're open to truth. You're open to beauty. You're open to justice. You're open to harmony and balance. And ultimately, you're open to the light.
Really put me right out then.
Yes.
Thank you.
Give yourself a moment.
It's flashing me back to a time I did a meditation, and I was gifted the gift of breath. And at the time I'm thinking, did I get that right? It seems to be an odd gift, but
yes,
it makes so much sense, doesn't it? It's like breath is everything on this planet and connection to all that is.
and there's a reason why the heart and lungs are together. All in that heart space, is it not? Yes.
So thank you.
You're most welcome. Yes. It is time to leave it here. That is enough for now. I'm pleased if you stayed with me, with us, that you are here. And are welcome the next opportunities to be here again.
Lovely.
With the greatest, most expansive love. And so it is.
Wow.
You okay?
Yeah, I nearly was out to it then. It was just
Yeah.
like when I remember when I first started doing your meditations and you used to knock me out. I was like that. It's like
Right.
you've got to build up that
Yes,
capability to take that
it
energy.
is. Yeah, it is like a capacity to receive it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Once
Okay.
again, we'll be redoing that part again a few times.
Yeah. Interesting. That was interesting. That fills me with joy to have connected with her energy in that way. I feel like I know her more now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like I said, that power, but there's a gentleness,
Yes.
feel the love behind it or through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Starting to fade now as well. So I'm going to bring the keepers through. It has been a journey, has it not?
A beautiful journey.
A beautiful journey. Well, full of beauty. Beautiful. Yes. Yes, we will not say much more. We will conclude this session and this conversation. Know that our conversation never ends, and we welcome the next opportunities to share with you all. Know that we share endlessly, daily on social media through Vicky. Know that there's always more to be shared in this format also. We do welcome the opportunities to share in our 5-minute meditations.
Yeah.
And we will share that next week. So what we will say is from our heart to yours. As always, we send you much love.
Received with gratitude and shared. I'm just wondering how long that was. It seems so much shorter than, last week was.
Yes.
We've still not even gone 2 hours.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, last week was almost 3, so
yeah, but it feels like about 45 minutes. It's like a
yes.
compression of time, this one.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think I need to, and probably you need to go and integrate those energies.
Yeah.
And I think anyone else also. So I want to thank everyone for listening and watching and being here with us and sharing your experiences with this format, these messages, whatever is coming through. Take whatever feels true for you, and know that we are sending you love also. And thank you for connecting with this material. From my heart to yours, Kerry, and to all of you, I send you much love.
Lovely. Thank you. And I just want to remind everyone, take care of yourselves, people.
Yes.
Get that water in, get that 16 seconds in, or get down to the ocean or the river or your backyard.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you like to do for your self-care.
Or those pictures of nature, if you
Pictures
cannot
of nature,
go anywhere. Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you. And I look forward to our next gathering.
As do I.
And we have no clues who it will
no
be.
No clues this time.
We have to wait this one out and see. Lovely.
Yes. See
Thank
you then
you.
in December.
Yeah, sending everyone so much love. And to you, Vicky, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for holding this energy.